Zimbabwe's new president acknowledges that the nation has a past rife with human rights abuses at the hands of the party that ruled for nearly 4 decades under Robert Mugabe. Now, with President Emmerson Mnangagwa swearing in, followed by several high-profile corruption cases against his political enemies, critics say these are just short trials to avoid addressing more serious crimes. VOA's Anita Powell reports from Harare.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa sees only one way forward for his wounded nation, battered by human rights abuses and endemic corruption: forgiveness. But just a day later, the state jailed former Mugabe-era minister Ignatius Chombo on massive corruption charges.
I think that they're just using him to try and portray an image of dealing with, corruption and so forth. But the cases that my client is facing, these are very old cases. I think the most recent is 2005, which shows that there is nothing really serious on his part. It's just to harass him and then to try and create the impression that we are dealing with corruption.
Human rights lawyers say there are worse crimes and more serious culprits who are being protected.
If there are crimes that have been committed, everybody should in fact be put on trial. It shouldn't be selective at all. It shouldn't depend on which faction you belong to. Are you on our side or the other side? If the law is being used to right wrongs of the past, this should be done with everybody.
Many Zimbabweans do not want former leaders to rest in glory. Patson Zamara's older brother Itai was abducted in 2015 for opposing Mugabe. He's still missing.
The current president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, played a very major role, and so he's complicit. He was a part of that arrangement and government. And for us to sweep that under the carpet and say that was that and life just has to go on as though nothing happened, I don't think it's proper.
Churches, which occupy a powerful role in Zimbabwe, are also struggling with the notion of letting bygones be. Pastor Chris Oporocha says he looks to other African nations for guidance.
In Zambia, we saw when President Levi Mwanawasa came into office, Chiluba, who was the outgoing president, was not given any immunity. He had to pay for the crimes that he did. He might not be sentenced to prison, but whatever evil has been done should be brought to light so that those people are dealt with.
Zimbabwe, its people agree, has to move forward, but no one thinks it will be easy. Anita Powell, VOA News, Harare.
The Mieti-Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria in Yobe State is creating awareness on the need for peaceful coexistence between its members and farmers across the state and the country. The message of peace continues with a visit to Gujba and Gulani local government areas. Leaders of the herdsmen are also encouraging the pastoralists to cultivate a high sense of civic responsibility by obtaining national identity and voter cards.
Conflicts between herdsmen and farmers in parts of the country have not only led to loss of lives and property, but have also harmed the once harmonious relationship between crop and animal farmers and also affected food production output from both activities. Finding lasting peace is the reason behind this enlightenment campaign by the Mieti-Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. Beginning with Gujba and Gulani local government areas, members are told about the gains of peace towards sustainable development. The chairman of the Mieti-Allah Association reminds the cattle breeders of the times when they lived peacefully with farming communities and saying peaceful coexistence must not be compromised.
This is one of the first local government areas we are visiting to mobilize farmers and pastoralists. And it's obvious over the years that there's been peace between the two groups in this area. I commend you for this peace and urge you to nurture and strengthen it. You should also ensure that you obtain the voter cards as well as the national identity card in line with the policies of the federal government.
The members of the association received the message of peace and praised the initiative. They also call on the federal government to put into consideration their plight as pastoralists.
We are happy with this gathering, and we want to use this medium to call on the federal government to meet up with the demands of the pastoralists who have been neglected over the years. We need schools for our children, enabling environment for grazing, among others, to make us comfortable in our profession.
The divisional police officer of Gujba local government, Mr. Ibrahim Abdullahi, advises both sides to embrace peace at all times.
Just last month alone, we lost 18 people as a result of clashes between farmers and cattle rearers, and I want to advise that whoever is aggrieved should not take the laws into their own hands, but to either settle it with local authorities or involve law enforcement agencies for peaceful resolution.
The representative of Gujba Local Government Council also commends the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association for initiating the peace move and assures the association of the community's desire to embrace peace.
Most of the spokesmen around who have spoken, and who have given a lot of advice, very vital. And my hope and prayer is let everybody, that is the farmer and the cattle rearers, as they have heard all that have been said, they should work on it and then disseminate the information to those who are not around. So I'm so much happy.
Despite recent acrimony between cattle breeders and farming communities, the relationship between both parties in Yobe State have been relatively peaceful, but the association is not taking any chances, choosing instead to ensure the existing cordiality is maintained.
It's time for a short break, but before we go, let's remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, challenging gender stereotypes in Mogadishu. Meet Somalia's first female auto mechanic. That story after the break.